Hey everyone, it's Katie with Fry, and we are back to tell you about how raising Muscovy ducks is going. So I listed out about 13 things that I really like about them. Most of these things might be ducks in general, but some of them apply to only Muscovies. So skip ahead to the section that you are interested about. The first thing is that they are extremely quiet. So Muscovies don't really quack. They're not quackless because they do kind of peep when they're little, but they're not like meh, 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 like a regular duck is. They kind of make this guttural hissing sound, and it's when they're annoyed or stressed out or just excited. You can kind of tell the difference between the hisses based on the situation. So I wouldn't say they're like completely silent, but they're perfect for a neighborhood, and I'm extremely happy with how quiet they are. The second thing is that they're extremely easy to care for. So I would definitely say Muscovy ducks are a perfect beginner homestead animal because all they really need is food, water, and maybe a little shelter. So they don't really even need shelter. We have a really nice coop for them that gives them shade, and the water just needs to be deep enough so that they can clear their nostrils out, or else they can get sick. And then food, they're very flexible on food. So if you're free ranging them or they're allowed to forage, you're going to spend a lot less money on food from the store for them. So they do like grain. Ducks also require water when they're eating, so just keep that in mind. Other than that, I probably spend 15 not even minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night taking care of them. I choose to spend an hour or two in the morning, an hour or two at night, just to let them roam throughout this garden, and they can get grasshoppers and things like that. It's also a time for me to spend with them so I can get to know each one and their personalities, and I'm starting to notice which ones are girls and which ones are boys, so that's really awesome. I've found that Muscovy ducks are extremely friendly compared to the other ducks I've had. I know a couple people online have reported the males are kind of aggressive once they hit like a certain age, like over 9 to 10 months. They kind of become like, don't touch me. But all of mine are extremely friendly. They follow me and come when they're called. They know when to go back into their coop area. And I've never had an issue with them biting, attacking, charging, anything like that. I would say they're a really great animal to get when they're babies if you have children, so that they can grow up with them and they know they're safe. I purposely kept them away from Fry because I wanted him to herd them, so I kind of wanted them to be scared of him. But at the same time, when he's laying down next to them, they don't care. They are very friendly. They just kind of ignore him and they walk around him like he was a piece of grass. So I'm extremely excited about how I can trust them with other people, like pet sitters and even children that might come by to say hi to them. They will also take treats out of my hand, so their favorite thing is like lettuce or kale. If I'm holding it out, they'll eat it really quick, which is awesome. It's really fun. But I think overall they're one of the most friendly animals besides a dog and a cat I've ever had. And I would say the fourth thing I really like about them is that they're not obsessed with water like other ducks are. Yes, they do like water. Yes, they do need water. They don't need deep enough water to swim in though. When I am filling the pool in the morning, just to cool them down in the summer, it's really nice to have, but they're not running straight for it. They don't go right for the pool or the water to take a drink or anything, or swim in it first thing in the morning. They want me to open the gate so they can go eat the grasshoppers in this garden. They're very food motivated, which is a great trait to have in an animal because that means they're going to be extremely easy to train. I've also found that they're not messy, so I did clean their area, like their brooder, every day when they were little, just because I did have 10 of them, so that's a pretty decent amount of ducks to be pooping in one area. So I kept that clean for them every day. But with their coop now, it's about 5 by 10 run area. I only clean it about once a week, and there's sand on the bottom, so it's just like a giant kitty litter box. I just go around scooping any poops that maybe didn't disintegrate down into the sand. So duck poop is a little bit more waterier than chicken poop. It doesn't smell as bad, and I find it very easy to clean up. And then the outside of their coop is just a big plot of dirt, and they're not messy with it at all. Like, there's no grass because they have eaten everything down, but nothing looks unkept, and I would say they're just a very cleanly bird overall. They never look dirty. The sixth thing that I really like about them is that they're easy to move or like herd around. Because they're siblings and they've really bonded and they're a very close-knit flock, I'm able to herd them around just by snapping or clapping. Sometimes one of the hens, the darkest one, will give me a lot of trouble, so I will use like a bamboo stick to like move her around into the coop at night if I'm putting them to bed early. But other than that, I will use Fry to herd them around the yard, just so he is much faster at catching if they stray off into the corner, because some of our backyard isn't gated fully, and we do have neighborhood dogs that could potentially scare them, and then they could run into something and hurt themselves. So Fry kind of makes sure they're going in the right area, which is just basically around the garden. I want them eating the grasshoppers. They'll graze the rest of the backyard, but most of the time I just let them out to graze the garden. The seventh thing that's really awesome about Muscovy ducks is that they are amazing mothers. So mine are only about 5 months. They haven't laid an egg yet, but moms can lay up to like 15 to 18 eggs in a clutch, and they'll sit on that until their babies are hatched. So all of these guys were in one little hatch session from a breeder in Colorado. So I got them locally, and they were all hatched together from the same clutch. So it's pretty bonding, and they did very well in the early April as babies. The mom sheltered them from the snow and the wind, and they learn how to forage very early on in life. So I was extremely happy to get those guys. And they also nest, kind of like chickens do. Some ducks don't do that, but these guys will actually kind of create a nest or look for a nest and be laying the clutch to store up, to sit on. The eighth thing I really like about them is that they are omnivores. They are amazing foragers. It's so fun to watch them, especially Hazel, the lightest duck I have. She will run and run and run until she can find that grasshopper she was looking for. She's very diligent and determined to get what she wants. It's so fun to watch them. And my new technique of getting rid of pests on the garden is I will flick off any grasshoppers or bugs I see, and then they immediately see them, jump on the ground and eat them. So it's been working out really well, because we have had a huge grasshopper problem the past 2 years, and they just eat and obliterate everything, including the grass on the ground, or any type of weed is all eaten by grasshoppers. So I'm hoping over the next 2 or 3 years, while we're here, to kind of mitigate that with the ducks. The ninth thing, we haven't really experienced this yet, but it is said that ducks in general, especially Muscovy ducks, are very hardy in the winter. So Colorado does get pretty intense winters. We don't get as much snow here, I don't think, but it's still a decent amount of snow. Like some mornings I'm not going to be able to get out into the coop because there's going to be that much snow, and they need to be able to be okay. I think I'm going to be lining their coop with a little bit more straw in the winter, but in general they're said to be very hardy in the winter if they have a shelter. So it needs to block any wind or hail or sleet or snow that might fall on them and give them a chill. So Muscovies don't have as waterproof as feathers as some ducks do, so it's really important for them to stay dry. The 10th thing that's really awesome about Muscovies is that they don't have meat like regular ducks do. They have like 99% lean meat that is red meat. So it's really dark and it almost looks like beef when you cut it open. So we did have to butcher a couple of new Muscovies that came onto the farm and were being aggressive towards some of my hens, trying to kill them essentially. So we did have to process those guys, and we ended up having a duck roast with Kyle's family, which was awesome. And it was my first time eating meat in almost 2 years, and I could say for sure that the duck meat tasted amazing. And I think if you really find your suppliers and people willing and wanting to buy Muscovy duck meat, you can make pretty good money on that because it's amazing. The 11th thing I really like about Muscovies is that they can technically live in vertical spaces. So they're kind of a cross between a duck and a chicken, because they have really, really long claws on their feet. Regular ducks only have like tiny little claws that don't hurt too bad, but Muscovies do have pretty long claws, and that gives them the ability to perch. So they can fly up to any type of stick or tree and perch on that. So you can provide spaces for them in their coop to perch or fly into a nest, and that could be really helpful for some urban homesteaders if you don't have the horizontal space like we do. The 12th thing that is pretty awesome about Muscovy ducks is that they lay amazing eggs. So Muscovies lay about 180 to 200 eggs a year, which is a lot of eggs for a duck. And they can lay up to like until they're 5 to 6 years old. Muscovies last forever. Like I've heard of people's Muscovies lasting until 12 years old, like almost as old as a dog. So if you keep them healthy and strong, they can last for a pretty long time and produce eggs for 5 to 6 years. Duck eggs in general are extremely rich and healthy, great for baking. They have a higher price point. You just need to find the market. A lot of people are more accustomed to chicken eggs, so they can be kind of on the scared side of buying duck eggs. It's also really cool. People who are allergic to chicken eggs may not be allergic to duck eggs since they have a different genetic makeup. So the 13th and final thing I love about these guys is that not only is their poop not gross or disgusting, it's immediately compostable. So you can immediately put it onto mature plants around trees, anything like that, and then water it to have it disintegrate down into the soil and be fertilizing your plants. I would not put it over like a seed or seedlings, just because they might have trouble growing through whatever straw or poop is on the top if it's really hard. But you can put it into your compost for later and have it mix in for next year. It's just a really great way for you to be using permaculture on your homestead, and that's something we wanted to do. So we weren't buying fertilizer or buying other things like rabbit poop from some other homesteader to put on top. It's also organic and fully natural to be putting duck poop on your plants. So if I've missed anything or you have questions, please let me know down in the comments. I would be happy to answer them for you. I have nothing but amazing reports about Muscovy ducks, and I highly recommend them for any homestead. Thank you. Kiss.